I think it's very, very ironic that Governor Newsom, who strikes me as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken, may be the only Californian who knows less about economics than Kamala Harris. He's here this week with his billionaire sugar daddy, Alex Soros, and Davos is the perfect place for a man who, when everyone else was on lockdown, when he was having people arrested for going to church, he was having $1,000 a night meals at the French Laundry, and I'm sure the California people won't forget that. My message to Governor Newsom is the Trump administration is coming to California. We are going to crack down on waste, fraud, and abuse. And I was told he was asked to give a speech on his signature policies, but he's not speaking. Because what have his economic policies brought? Outward migration from California, a gigantic budget deficit, the largest homeless population in America, and the poor folks in the Palisades who had their homes burned down. He is here hobnobbing with the global elite while his California citizens are still homeless. Shame on him. He is too smug, too self-absorbed, and too economically illiterate to know anything.
Let's get some more analysis now over in the United States with Annalise Nielsen. So, I mean, there's a lot of people, as Nick just pointed out, Annalise, there's a lot of folks, and we said it here in our show, strongly doubted that Donald Trump was going to make a military move on Greenland, but it all formed, part of his negotiating style where, you come in hot and you end up coming down a few notches. But just bring us up to speed with what's happened, because Donald Trump certainly believes that he's got a result here.
And look, I think the Trump strategy is that he wanted to make them jump, and they jumped. When they saw that there were military personnel being moved into Greenland when he made that threat, he knew that he'd spooked them. And this is how he opens negotiations. This is a long-term legacy planning for Donald Trump in how he's approaching this presidency. He's still got 3 years to do this, and he knows that he wants Greenland by the end of this. It's not just the strategic location, those trade routes that go through the North, the Arctic, that will be in particular of importance to Russia. But for Trump, he really wants to build that legacy off the McKinley legacy. Now, that was the president in the US in the 1890s. He was very famous for introducing protectionist tariffs, making America a world power, but he had that territorial expansion. Trump wants that territorial expansion. He's not going to let this go. And so I don't know what's come out of these negotiations today that's made him feel better, but I would say, bottom dollar, I would bet that Trump is going to get Greenland by the end of the next 3 years.
What cost, Annalise? I mean, I tell you what, I spoke to a member of the government out of Denmark yesterday, and I said, you know, in the words of Don Corleone, what if there's an offer that you cannot refuse? And he sort of squibbed that and said, no, there's going to be no offer. But money talks, doesn't it?
It does. And look, Denmark's actually doing a lot better financially because of Novo Nordisk, the company that makes Ozempic that has taken the world by storm. But they do spend a lot of money on Greenland. There's been a lot of tension with Greenland and how they've treated the native people there for quite some time. But Greenland wants independence. The reality is they don't have the kind of resources, industry there to be able to sustain it themselves. They rely heavily on government handouts. And so I think there will be a bottom dollar figure that they can throw at this to make it happen. Trump's saying this isn't about critical minerals. I think he knows that in this context of Davos speaking to these European leaders that they need to make the strategic point. But I think at the end of the day, you're not going to squib at the idea that there's a lot of really valuable critical minerals there, and Russia would have its eyes on it as well.
Sure.
And so I think at some point it will come down to saying to Europe, wouldn't you rather it's us than Russia?
Well, and further to that, as we know, Annalise, that China's got 90% of the world's rare earths. Greenland holds an estimated 1.5 million metric tons of rare, and you know, rare earths, you need it to make everything. It's not that rare, but just that China's got most of it. So Greenland holds 1.5 million metric tons of rare earth reserves, and it does not have the commercial production to be able to access it. The United States surely does.
Or they'd figure it out really quickly. And then this is the other problem though with critical minerals is the actual processing of it. A lot of that comes through China now as well. And so there's that kind of idea that they need to increase industrial expansion here. This is the Trump method. We saw it with East Wing. He's going to get stuff done and ask permission later. So there's that kind of idea that we're going to get this done. But it's a big task. I think, though, this is at the heart of the legacy that Trump wants to build. And so this isn't just kind of a flippant thought. He's not just trying to shake the cage for the sake of it. He really wants Greenland, and he's going to make it happen.
And all you got to do is look at the map, right, too, Annalise. You know, you look at where Greenland is, and you can see why it's so strategically important. And as I can't remember who pointed this out a little bit earlier, but it was raised. Might have been Nigel Farage actually. As it heats up, as the ice caps in the north heats up in the years and decades ahead, then that just makes Greenland so much more valuable from a security sense as well.
Absolutely, and we've seen Russian expansion throughout the Arctic. This has been bubbling away for some time, Arctic security, because the concerns are that if they block those trading routes there, that also blocks the ability for military personnel to move quietly throughout that region. And so, I mean, we saw it in World War II when they took over Iceland because it became a strategic fuel point for the Allies when they were worried about the Germans and their allies, the Axis taking over Iceland, and just the strategic where it is in between the European continent and the US. And so absolutely this is geographic, this is going to be changing. It's not very easy right now to be trying to drill into all that ice, but technology changes quite quickly, and they've just realized that they want to be on the front foot of this as compared to letting Russia get in there first.
Yeah, that's a good point. You make good points all the time. Thank you, Annalise. We'll see you again soon.